I love seeing little glimpses of how various biblical characters, people throughout history and the history of our faith, and catching glimpses of what their relationship with God was like. Just kind of imagining how it is that they struggled like I struggle, how they were human like I'm human, and they weren't just some incredible character in a story. You know what I mean? Like the humanity of their story. And today, like as we're looking at another one of our verses that talks about not being afraid, we're going to look at Paul. And Paul has just kind of he's finished with dealing with riots in Thessalonica, and then he was kind of run out of town in Berea, and then he communicated for his first time in Athens, which was not an easy thing. Like one historian said, there were more gods than there were people in the city of Athens. And so like that couldn't have been easy to communicate well, and it wasn't necessarily received well. He was mocked there as well. And finally his travels take him to Corinth, and I just imagine he must have been tired. He must have just been thinking, I wonder if I'm making any progress. I've seen a couple of glimpses, but I wonder if I'm really effective. I wonder if God's still working in this. Is God still working with me? Is God still calling me to what it is that I'm doing? And so, believe it or not, he actually takes a little bit of a break. He arrives in Corinth and he meets this couple of tent makers, Aquila and Priscilla. And so he knows the art of tent making as well. And so he moves in basically with them, starts doing business with them for a while. On the weekends, he goes to the synagogue and discusses things, but he doesn't preach much during the week for a little while until his friends Silas and Timothy kind of come along, and they come along, and that kind of spurs him. It gets him more excited. He goes out and preaches more when they come and visit. And as at this moment, as he's gone back out to start to begin to speak again, like it's this random moment where God decides to speak some words of encouragement to Paul. Like this moment in the middle of the ups and downs that is Paul's ministry, where God says, I'm gonna encourage you. And so he has these words for Paul. He says this: one night the Lord spoke to Paul in a vision in Acts chapter 18, verse 9. Do not be afraid. Keep on speaking. Do not be silent. Like, do not be afraid. Keep on speaking. Do not be silent. And then he goes on. He says that he will protect him. He will watch over him. And I mean, I wonder what kind of encouragement this must have been to Paul. Do not be afraid. Keep on speaking. Don't be silent. At the moment where Paul's actually concerned about his own safety, he's unsure about whether people are really willing to listen to the fact that Jesus is alive and this is good news, and how in the world can people not understand the universe-altering nature of this good news? So through this long process of trying to get through to people with the message of Jesus, Paul takes time and has this moment with God, and God says, hey, I'm with you. Don't stay silent. Keep on speaking. Maybe you are like me, and there's a friend, maybe a relative, a coworker that you've been praying for a long time. This person that you just can't seem to get through to, this person that you want them to have faith, to have hope and confidence that you do. And no matter how many times you seem to have that discussion with them, it just doesn't seem to click. It doesn't seem to sink in with them. Maybe you've hoped and prayed for years or maybe even decades for them to really hear your words, to really feel the Spirit working in them, to give their life to Jesus. And maybe it's discouraging. Maybe you feel Paul in some of that discouragement. Maybe those discussions threaten to break the relationship, and so you have to be careful on how you have those discussions because they just don't want to hear it. And when it comes to talking to others about faith, God has these words for you as well. Maintain the relationship, but keep on speaking. Don't be silent. Share that hope, share that faith, share that good news, like Paul. Don't hesitate to share the reason for your hope, for your joy, for your faith. Do not be silent, because God will be with you. And while we may not always see results quickly, sometimes Paul went along and he didn't even know the results that came on after him. He never knew. And we might not ever see the fruits of our labor, if you will. But God works with everyone in their own time, doesn't he? So keep on speaking. Keep on having hope. Don't be silent, because God is with you. I want to pray for you. God, we each have this person that is on our hearts maybe right now, and maybe as we're listening, there's this person that we've been praying for so long. And God, I ask that your Spirit might help nudge them along, that you might give us an opportunity to have another faith conversation with them, that we might be able to reach into their life in some way and help them discover your Spirit working in their lives, help them discover the hope and grace and forgiveness that Jesus offers us. So be with us today, and may our eyes always be open for those moments where you're asking us to speak and not be silent. I pray this in your name. Amen.